He was only 11 years old when his entire world shattered, and then someone tried to steal what was left. Not in the dead of night with masks and guns, but in broad daylight, with legal papers, signatures, and a smile that hid betrayal. This is the story of Alex Rivera, a quiet, thoughtful boy who once believed that family meant safety. A boy who would have to learn the hardest lessons of life far too early, in the suburbs of Los Angeles, California. It happened on a warm Tuesday evening in the quiet suburb of Whittier, Los Angeles County. Alex's parents, Miguel and Sofia Rivera, were driving home from a dinner celebrating their 15th wedding anniversary. A drunk driver ran a red light at high speed. The crash was instant. Both parents died on impact. In one terrible moment, 11-year-old Alex became an orphan. The house on Maplewood Lane, the only home Alex had ever known, suddenly became everything he had left. The small two-story house with a lemon tree in the backyard, the bedroom window where he watched stars with his father, the kitchen where his mother taught him how to make arroz con leche. That house held every memory, every laugh, every hug. At first, his uncle, Victor Rivera, his father's older brother, stepped in. "I'll take care of everything," Victor said at the funeral, wearing a black suit and wiping fake tears. "Your family. This house will stay in the family. Don't worry, Sabrino." But Victor lied. Within weeks of the funeral, things began to change. Victor moved some of his things into the house. Then more. Then he changed the locks while Alex was at school. When Alex came home one afternoon with his school bag, he found his uncle standing at the door with official-looking papers. "This house now belongs to me," Victor said coldly. "Your parents had debts. I paid them. The court papers are done. You can stay for now, but this is my property." It was a lie. There were no big debts. Victor had forged documents, used fake signatures, and taken advantage of the confusion after the sudden deaths. He filed quick paperwork claiming the house as the only living relative who could manage the estate. The county office, overwhelmed and understaffed, processed it without deep checks. Alex was left with nothing but a suitcase and the clothes on his back. He was sent to live with a distant relative in a crowded apartment 20 miles away. But every night, he thought about his parents' house, the house that was rightfully his. He refused to accept it. While other kids his age played video games, rode bikes in the suburbs, and worried about middle school dances, Alex sat alone every single evening. He started researching. At first, he understood almost nothing. Property law sounded like a foreign language. But pain has a way of sharpening the mind. He used the old library computer. He watched free YouTube videos about probate court, inheritance law in California, and how to contest illegal property transfers. He wrote down every new word: probate, intestate succession, quiet title action, adverse possession, forgery. He spent months gathering documents. He visited the Los Angeles County Recorder's office after school, taking 3 buses each way. He requested old property records. He found the original deed from when his parents bought the house in 2012. He discovered bank statements showing his parents had paid off most of the mortgage. There were no large debts. But the most important discovery came 6 months later. While sorting through a box of his mother's old things that a kind neighbor had saved, Alex found something hidden. A yellow envelope, sealed, with his mother's handwriting. To be opened only if something happens to us. Inside was a will. A properly notarized will, dated just 8 months before the accident. In it, his parents clearly left everything, the house, the small savings, everything, to Alex. They had named a trusted friend as executor if anything happened, but Victor had hidden this will and never told anyone. Alex's hands trembled as he read it. This was the proof. This was the truth. Now he had to fight. By the time Alex turned 13, he had spent over a year preparing. He had become an expert in California probate law. He knew the rules of the Los Angeles County Superior Court better than most adults. He practiced speaking in front of the mirror every night. He filed the case himself. Pro se, representing himself. No lawyer, no guardian to help. Just a 13-year-old boy against his own uncle and a complicated legal system. The Los Angeles County Superior Court in downtown LA is a massive, intimidating building. Marble floors, high ceilings, echoing hallways filled with lawyers in suits carrying thick files. When Alex walked in on the day of the hearing, wearing the only formal shirt he owned and carrying a worn backpack full of documents, security guards looked at him twice. Courtroom 42B. The room was already half full. Victor sat on one side with the real estate lawyer he had hired. The lawyer smirked when he saw Alex alone. Whispers spread through the courtroom. Is that the kid? He's really doing this himself? The judge entered. Honorable Elena Vargas, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s known for being fair but strict. Case number BC 47892. Rivera versus Rivera. Young man, where is your legal counsel? Judge Vargas asked, looking over her glasses. Alex stood up. His heart was pounding, but his voice was clear and steady. Your Honor, I am representing myself. A ripple of surprise moved through the room. Even the judge paused for a second. You understand the seriousness of this matter, Mr. Rivera? She asked gently but firmly. Yes, Your Honor. This is my parents' house.
My home.
My uncle took it illegally. I have proof. Judge Vargas nodded slowly. Very well. Proceed. Alex walked to the front table. He opened his backpack and began laying out documents one by one. His hands were steady now. He had practiced this moment hundreds of times. First, he said, his voice echoing slightly in the large room, here are the original property records from the Los Angeles County Recorder's Office. He displayed the documents on the screen. The house on Maplewood Lane was bought by Miguel and Sofia Rivera in 2012. Both names are on the deed. There was never any transfer of ownership to my uncle Victor Rivera. The documents he filed after my parents' death are forged. Victor's lawyer stood up quickly. Objection, Your Honor. This is a child making wild accusations. Alex didn't wait for the judge. He continued calmly. I have the bank records. My parents paid the mortgage on time every month. There were no large unpaid debts. My uncle created fake loan documents to claim he saved the house. Here are the real bank statements. He clicked to the next slide. Numbers.
Dates.
Clear proof. Then came the most powerful moment. Alex held up the yellow envelope. And this is the hidden will. He placed it carefully on the table and showed copies to the judge and the opposing side. My parents wrote this will 8 months before the accident. It is notarized. It clearly states that everything in the house, all their belongings goes to me, Alex Rivera. They named a friend as executor. My uncle never told anyone about this will. He hid it so he could take the house. The courtroom became completely silent. Alex continued, his voice gaining strength. I was only 11 when my parents died. I had no one to fight for me. My uncle took advantage of that. He changed the locks. He kicked me out. He tried to sell the house to a developer. But this house is mine. It holds every memory of my mom and dad. I will not let it be stolen. He turned and looked directly at his uncle for the first time. You were supposed to protect me. Instead, you stole from me. Victor shifted uncomfortably in his seat. His lawyer whispered urgently. Judge Vargas leaned forward, studying the documents carefully. She asked several pointed questions. Alex answered every one with clear references to California law citing specific probate codes he had memorized. After nearly 2 hours of presentation, the judge sat back in her chair. The room was tense. Mr. Rivera, she said slowly, what you have done here today is extraordinary. A 13-year-old boy representing himself, presenting organized, compelling evidence. This court has rarely seen such determination. She looked at Victor and his lawyer. The evidence clearly shows forgery, concealment of a valid will, and illegal transfer of property. The original will is valid. The house on Maplewood Lane belongs to Alex Rivera. She brought down the gavel.
Bang.
Tears finally came to Alex's eyes as he stood there. Not loud crying, just quiet relief. After almost 2 years of fighting alone, someone had listened. The system had worked because he forced it to. The judge ordered Victor to return the house immediately, pay back any rent money collected, and face possible charges for forgery. The house was transferred back to Alex's name. A legal guardian was appointed to help manage it until he turned 18. As Alex walked out of the courthouse that sunny afternoon in Los Angeles, the tall palm trees swaying in the breeze, he looked up at the sky. He could almost feel his parents watching. He wasn't just a boy who lost everything anymore. He was a boy who fought back and won. Extended narration, the full journey. Let me take you deeper into Alex's story, because this fight lasted far longer than one court hearing. After his parents' death, the first few months were pure darkness. Alex stayed with a distant cousin in a small apartment in Montebello. He slept on the couch. He barely spoke. At night, he would stare at old photos on his phone, his mother smiling in the kitchen, his father teaching him to ride a bike in the driveway of that very house. Victor had moved in quickly. He told neighbors that Alex was too young to handle such responsibility and that he was protecting the family asset. He even started renovating the house to sell it for profit. The lemon tree was cut down. The bedroom where Alex grew up was turned into storage. But Alex never forgot. Every weekend, he took the long bus ride back to Whittier just to stand outside the house and look at it from the sidewalk. He promised the house and his parents that he would bring it back. His research became an obsession. He learned that in California, when someone dies without a visible will, the property goes through probate. Relatives can claim it, but a hidden valid will changes everything. He studied cases where children contested guardians and won. He read the California probate code section by section. He made friends with a retired lawyer who sometimes helped at the library. The old man was amazed by the boy's determination and gave him free advice on how to format court documents. Alex saved every penny from odd jobs washing cars, helping neighbors with groceries to pay for printing and copying fees. When he finally filed the petition to set aside the illegal transfer and enforce the will, the court clerk looked at him with wide eyes. "You're doing this alone?" she asked. Alex simply nodded. The first hearing was difficult. Victor's lawyer tried to dismiss the case, saying a minor couldn't represent himself. But Judge Vargas allowed it to continue because of the strength of the initial evidence. Between hearings, Alex kept gathering more proof. He found old emails between his parents and the notary. He got statements from neighbors who heard Victor bragging about getting the house for free. He even found security camera footage from the bank where Victor had tried to access his parents' accounts. Each piece of evidence was carefully organized in color-coded folders. Alex created timelines, charts, and summaries so the judge could follow easily. The final hearing lasted 3 days. Alex spoke for hours. He explained California inheritance law. He showed how Victor had lied in his affidavits. He played a short video he had recorded of the house the way it looked now compared to old family videos. When the judge ruled in his favor, the entire courtroom was moved. Even some of the court staff had tears in their eyes. Today, Alex Rivera is 15. He lives back in the house on Maplewood Lane. The lemon tree has been replanted. The walls are once again filled with photos of his parents. He goes to school, plays soccer, and smiles again, but he is no longer the same boy. He proved something powerful that day in the Los Angeles County Superior Court. Justice is not always handed to you. Sometimes it must be taken back. Sometimes it takes the smallest voice, the voice of an 11-year-old orphan, to stand up against greed and lies. And sometimes that voice is enough to win back not just a house, but dignity, memories, and a future. The suburbs of Los Angeles will never forget the boy who walked into court alone and walked out a homeowner. Because courage has no age limit. And truth, when fought for with everything you have, always finds its way home.